What's up in the hood, my friends, my people? The market's getting shat upon all over the place. Let's start digging into what the heck is happening, why it's happening, so on and so forth, and what to play for the coming week. And let's get moving. So, first of all, there's a couple cross currents that are happening here to be aware of. Number one, the market was very, very extended going off the bottom of the tariff. We were up 50%, which is just a rare bird, 50 something percent, which is a huge rare bird in its own thing. Just like a stock, you go up that much, you're going to have to consolidate for long periods of time. If you go back through the history of the QQQs or the SPY, you spend months of any given year consolidating and ranging and chopping. Guys, we're not that far off from highs. It's not like the end of the world. But it sometimes feels like that because the high beta names that people were piling into, I don't even know if they're called high beta names, but the turds that people are calling high growth, high beta names have fallen off the cliff. And so that's putting people into, a little bit of the pain train. And so now you're getting a lot of panic that's coming throughout the markets because you have huge subsets of stocks that people really like, for example, Hood, right, that have just are down 50%, and then you have like all your software stocks, right, like CRM and stuff that are down so much. I mean, companies like D-Dog, right, that like blew out on earnings, like they're down in half. And it's, endless, like every kind of software name that you can think of. I have a whole SaaS list and, they're all down 50%, give or take 30, 40%, something like a Now, right? Like this thing was a couple $100 just in the summer, now you're getting down into, right, some rarefied territory. So the cross currents are this. Number one, these Claude updates where they're doing all this kind of agentic things, the Twitter marketing on it is so good that, people are assuming that you won't need software companies more because, Claude can do everything. That's probably a misnomer. A lot of these companies have enterprise customers and so on and so forth, and they need reliability and security. And if anybody's, banged their D in an AI, an AI thread, it's like sometimes you don't need, you're just talking in circles, right? Like my chat GPT, like you could say anything. It's like, that's a great job, Kunal. I really love your patience and foresight on what you're asking for. And I'm like, you'll be like, hey man, what's the weather today? Right? And be like, I commend you for your foresight and your patience for asking such good questions. All right? So it's not there yet anyways. And there's going to be like 3 AI companies and they do everybody's work in the history of the world. So they're probably not. So these things have gotten flummoxed through. The second part is that, Trump bringing on this Kevin Warsh guy, right? He's a supposed hawk. Right? We don't know that much about him yet. He hasn't been the Fed chair yet. And so, that put a big damper in, right, gold. And gold was going to do this anyways, but it needed a trigger, right? You got itchy trigger fingers, right? A little dirt under your fingernails, right? Your thumb up places it shouldn't be. People had itchy trigger fingers. You get these kind of, quick collapses that were probably going to happen anyways, right? But you always need that trigger to cause, a little bit of a sell-off. So you have that. So you got, right, Claude Code killing the software companies. You got Kevin Warsh, who doesn't look like some of the other candidates that were just like, hey, we're going to make interest rates like 1% and just go for gold. So you have like this kind of cross current happening. Then the third and the biggest reason is that we're just up a lot from the tariff lows, and you have to digest these moves. And there's still pockets of strength everywhere, right? You have XLE that's just going bajonkers, right? A breakout to all-time highs. So, yeah, like, okay, your freaking favorite drone stock isn't going up. It doesn't mean the end of the world. Like, you have transports trending, right? You have consumer staples. Shit is crazy. Consumer staples, I don't know anybody with any money, right? Everybody's asking me for money. Like, I know somehow these consumer stocks are just flying, right? Like, you see like companies like RCL, like, exploding up on earnings, and CCL, and right, like Gap is breaking out. So you have these pockets, but those aren't the pockets that anybody wants to trade. People want to, rub on quantums and nuclears. And so, yeah, those died, but there's all this other stuff happening. If you do a 30-day short on, the market indexes, you can see here, right? You got silver, solar, energy. Like you got a whole list of stuffs that are going. But yes, no, your quantum stocks and your, fake nuclear companies are not going, but that's okay. So what do we do? Well, I think, we're getting close to some mean reversion plays, but we also have some couple interesting earnings plays. I thought Ian Page was looking really good today. Awesome looker, right? 50 million shares in volume. Can't ignore that. I think that one's right for some, trades. SMCI may be bottoming out. Remember right now, because market's in opposite, if you beat on your earnings, you're probably going down, like Palantir, AMD. And if you miss on your earnings, you're probably going up because you're already a turd and everybody knows it. 115 million shares in volume today, 13%. You just got a nice base that's been brewing here. I think like something like a Shills could work. So like these are like the kind of names that I would, prefer to like look at because they're in the right sectors, right? And of course, if you see like any pullbacks and like energy names and stuff like that, you want to be, right? Like look at this like ConocoPhillips, like it's going to start this level right here, like it's going to start to, right, push through. So do a deep dive and, into some of these names. And I think you'll have some trenders there. On the other side, like if you want to do some counter trend kind of stuff, well, I think we're getting into the point where like maybe like a Shopify on a big gap down, right? Like that could work. Like a Now is getting close. I think, Microsoft, maybe if it busts below, like, there's a gap fill here till about 400, 396, let it kind of get demolished another couple more days. And I think that'll, nice 100 points or something from this pop here. That'll probably worth maybe a little bit of a gander. So you got like some things like that you can play. I got a whole SAS list over here. I'll post it a little bit later. Snow, one more big gap down here. Like this thing is 207. To get me down to like 150 or something. And I might be more interested in it, right? And like I don't think these companies are going away. This is just how things work, right? The markets go up, they go down, so on and so forth. So keep an eye on those. I think Snow now for me are probably the main watches on the counter trending, on the trend trading NPH SMCI Shills. And then, I'm going to throw in maybe like a little bit of Hood on a big gap down. Not big gap down, but if I can get this thing spiking down to like 69.70, so 10 more points, one more down day. I think that sets it up. You got one. This was $100, so it's not. It's like oversold, but it's not necessarily parabolically oversold. Like right, it's down 5-6 days in a row, but it's not like It doesn't feel climactic to me, right? I give me one more big gap down on this. Then I'm more interested in it. Same thing with Reddit. Like Reddit was 262. You just straight shot down. You're just riding the lower Bollinger Band. So give me the big gap down on this. Give me the flush out. Like the volume is picking up on the selling, but give me the flush out. Give me like the ATR's 12. Give me 4 days of ATR between price and the 9 EMA. I'm interested. Candle completely outside the lower Bollinger Band. I'm interested. Palantir, any spikes up in this? If I get if it gaps up to 145, I am taking this pig down again, all the way down to probably 100. If not even more, dude. This thing was at 65 in April. Dude, screw these guys, right? Like, let's short this thing for old time's sake. I think those are the ones that we want to be really keeping an eye on. And then, the rest, we got some earnings plays and stuff coming out. I believe Qualcomm is out and they shit the bed, so we'll keep this on watch for tomorrow. Google is out. I didn't really see much action in this. Spike down, spike up. It's kind of in no man's land. I don't think there's probably a play for us in it. I like them a little bit cleaner than that. So, guys, don't fret. The key is like not to just, the key is not to drag your feet and just be like stubborn with the positions. We took, I don't even know, 20, 30, 40 trades today in the chat room. Just shorting stuff like, one after, I don't even know. Let me see here. I mean, we were just shorting things. Dude, one after another. And it's like, you know, like, Netflix short, AMD short, STX short, STX re-short, Tesla short, you know, Tesla puts, AMD, like just, I mean, nonstop. But this is only 12 o'clock. Like we close this bad boy down. That's the way you got to do it sometimes. So, hey, that's life, man. You know, didn't take any longs today. Didn't feel the need to. Just go in and put the hammer of death down. Leave the chocolate thunder down, and you know, have some fun with all of this. It's more fun when the market goes down than when it goes up, anyways.